Valisthea for me, brother. Poor father. How he doted on his children. That he would die to protect me was plain. It was but a matter of when.
You planned this?
You did well to endure so long. But you broke in the end, as I knew you would. And now Muthos approaches. Put him to the proof. I would see if he breaks. Go, Bahamut. Kinslayer.
Not again. Brother? It's a long story. You cannot stay here, Mother. Come. Take my hand.
Get away from me! This is all just a dream, just a bad dream! You will not take me, Shadow! You will not take me!
Mother.
If it is consciousness that weaves your wills together, consciousness that blurs the boundary between your own will and that of others, then we shall set you apart once more. The ties that bind you shall be severed, and humanity return to its proper place. By primogenesis shall a new age of reason begin.
Relax, Your Majesty. Don't you want to play? It's been a long time.
If that is your wish.
Men, you are as meek as all the others.
Such feeble creatures. Gifted the power of icons, yet slaves to fickle emotions which usher you to your doom. And so you bind your fragile wills with strands of consciousness.
The wretched handiwork of a wretched people.
The sons of fire were united at last, and for but a moment their flame burned bright. Soon Muthos shall become our perfect vessel.
And then shall the world be remade.
Not before the bonds are severed, of trust, of respect, of love. Only when every strand of consciousness is cut away, may Muthos return to our side. By primogenesis shall all be undone. Mankind shall be rid of his wretchedness, and Muthos of his will. But while he yet clings to it, he has the power to forge bonds anew. And so we bid you, find Muthos, and sever every one.
To destroy that which has no physical form. You ask the impossible.
There is nothing your black blade cannot cut, Odin. We shall unite with Muthos, and bring forth a new world. So long as our vessel remains unclaimed by humanity.
It shall be done, Master. My will is yours. Mother.
How is your brother?
Asleep since I returned from the Dominion. Taya says he should be back on his feet soon enough. For a while, at least. She discovered something on his chest. A swelling, circled in stone.
The curse. For every mountain we climb, another rises up to greet us, doesn't it?
It's never ending. Even the sky seems to have grown tired of it all.
happy if I disturb Joshua. While he rests, I might...
Did you see the pair that got hauled into time?
Trouble with your gear, or... Something Fordian, dear. Did last you a good while. Anything else?
Clive. Going purse weighing you down? You're rubbing me blind, you know. It'd better all be here. Is that all? Did you see that? Tell me you saw that.
What are you making them skies then?
Otto, how fares the realm?
The realm? Oh, she's just fine. As long as you look past the fat storms out Mothercrystals and her skies are a roiling cesspit.
And Gav?
He's with your uncle in the Free Cities, helping Mid with her project. Sent an owl their way the moment the winds turned foul. Still waiting on a reply, though.
Do you have any good news?
Well, that depends on your definition of good.
All right, fine. What do you suggest we do?
Oh, no, I'm just the messenger. I leave the scheming to those more suited to the task. Could be that Lady Vivian and Old Tomes have their own thoughts on the current state of things. Could be that they don't. It certainly can't hurt to ask.
I suppose not.
How is it that every one of your little excursions presages some inexplicable catastrophe? Not that you are to blame for the Dominion's fate. No one could have predicted the actions of the Crown Prince.
I'm sorry I couldn't save your home.
My countrymen are stronger than you think. A few toppled clock towers won't break their spirits. They'll be back on their feet in no time.
I hope so.
Look at us. Bluer than a pair of bog crabs. Tempting though it may be, sulking will not help us find a solution to this mess.
You believe there's one to be found?
I don't know. But I am certain we're more likely to find it if we first examine the facts.
Beneath these darkened skies, fear and confusion reign over Valisthea. Oh, the lands around the fallen Mothercrystals had already begun to wilt for want of ether. But not like this. Crystals that filled wells and fueled furnaces. Now nothing but pretty shards of rock. And those that hang from the people's necks cast nary a glimmer of light to keep the dark at bay. It is only a matter of time before the common folk convince themselves that the end of days is upon us. Yet I fear a swift end is more than we can hope for. While most of the world thirsts for ether, the remainder drowns in it, spawning Akashic in droves. And amidst the hordes of mindless beasts, with magics as like to fail as function, even the strongest nation would falter. Rosaria and the Iron Kingdom teeter on the brink of collapse, while the tragedy in Twinside has all but paralyzed the Holy Empire. Dalmekia fares little better. Rumor has it the ministers fled the capital after the fall of Drake's Fang, leaving their beloved republic to crumble. Waloed, meanwhile, moves in earnest. The Einherjar has been sighted off-storm. The world, in short, is in chaos. It would seem our civilization was nothing but a castle of sand, to be washed away at the whim of the waves.
A castle of sand.
Not my best flourish, but it seemed fitting. The reports I've received are considerably more blunt in their appraisal. Without the protection of their nations, it will fall to the people to defend themselves against those who would take what is theirs.
Which is only ever going to end one way.
Defending a farmhouse against a band of chocobo thieves is one thing, but pitchforks and palisades will do little to stall an army's advance. Should the King of Waloed deign to invade, there would be none to stop him.
None but us.
Is a storm coming soon?
Let me guess. You're here about the skies.
Is there anything you don't know, Lawsman?
It doesn't take a court astrologer to augur the obvious. As for what has disturbed the heavens, that, I believe, is a question the Fallen might be better placed to answer than I. And on the 6th day, did the gods tear the sun from the firmament, visiting darkness upon their prideful sons and daughters. But I dare say you remember your childhood lessons on the sins of Zemeckis only too well.
You think they're connected? That Ultima was one of the gods responsible?
Well, he has certainly exhibited powers that we mortals would associate with the divine.
There is nothing divine about him.
But he wouldn't be the first god of whom that could be said, now would he? Yet for all the fairy tales that tell of the sins, there is almost nothing in the way of actual historical accounts. Had I the Journal of Moss the Chronicler, I may have been able to tell you more, but alas, I fear all remaining copies have been lost to time. You will forgive me, I hope?
Certainly not. Because there is nothing to forgive. Even without this journal, you've provided us ample wisdom. And we will always be grateful for it. Perhaps Otto will be more inclined to share his thoughts when he hears what the others had to say.
Seems that way.
Clive, we have a problem.
Only one. That would be a first.
It would. Actually, there are three. We had as many owls arrive while you were at the shelves. Martha's got a Akashic at her gates, and talk of monsters roaming the hills outside of Northreach has put the wind up Isabel and her lot.
And don't forget Dalimil. Lubor says the village was raided by bandits.
When it rains...
It fucking pours. The curse breakers are spread thin, taking stock of the damage in the Dominion. And even if I could get word to all of them, I doubt they'd get here in time to make any real difference. Which means... there's only two people who can.
Jill and I.
Let them know we're on our way.
Sid! Your new companion appears much more formidable than your uncle. Should I be worried?
You haven't been introduced.
Jill. Clive has told me much about you.
All lies, I'm sure.
Your Stolas said that Dalimil has a bandit problem.
Indeed. Although, you're a little late. They left with our food and guild days ago.
Any idea where they went?
The desert's a big place. Your guess is as good as mine. But the fact is, I have more immediate concerns.
What did you say to me? What did you say?
Ah, as if by magic. Let's just say we've yet to reach a consensus about how to solve Dalimil's little problem. And at this rate, it won't be the actions of the bandits which prove to be our undoing. It will be our own. I've tried reasoning with the dissenting parties, but even the Desert Hare has limits.
Perhaps we could talk to them.
What makes you think they'll listen to us?
What makes you think they won't?
She makes a fair point, Sid. And you won't have wasted much of your precious time if you fail. They're just across the courtyard.
Suppose we just follow the shouting.
You wouldn't talk like that if it had been your men whose throats were slit. Blood for blood, it's the only way. We hire mercenaries and have them mount the bandits' heads on our walls as a lesson to the rest.
And what happens when those mercenaries are slaughtered like your men? Are you going to hire more? We're better off using that coin to buy food and supplies. If we hire mercenaries, the only thing we're buying is the bandits' ire. And you cannot fill empty bellies with that. Do you hear me?
But what happens when they come back? Maybe it'll be your throat that's slit.
That's enough. Both of you. Any more of this and I'll throw you out myself. Come back when you're ready to talk like adults.
Victor. What's he doing here?
Sid. And Lady Jill. What brings you here?
I was about to ask you the same thing.
Costness is in chaos, and the markets have all but ceased to operate. The Briar's Kiss here in Dalimil is the only place I can reliably obtain supplies. I was here to do just that when Master Lubor told me of his troubles. He thought I might be able to talk some sense into these fools. But if you're here, I suppose his patience must be waning.
Who are those people?
Those were the thorns in Lubor's side. And the reason this place might be headed the same way as Costner's. It's these accursed skies. The darkness is enough to drive a man to madness. Or an entire city, for that matter.
We're still working on the skies. But in the meantime, perhaps we can find a solution to Dalimil's problems.
I hope so. For all our sakes.
So, you see my predicament?
What I saw was a room full of people who were angry and afraid. And with good reason by the sound of it. But if left to smolder, that anger and fear could set the entire town alight.
My thoughts exactly. What to do? Both sides wish to protect their homes and livelihoods, if only they could agree on how. But as long as they are divided, we are vulnerable.
And if there's one thing bandits like, it's an easy target.
What would Sid the Outlaw suggest?
Well, if it were my namesake, he'd let them choose for themselves, and be on hand to pick up the pieces when it all went wrong.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster.
A recipe for disaster is precisely what it is. But perhaps that realization would be enough to make them question the ingredients. While it's plain neither Conrad nor Natalie will countenance the other's proposal, it may still be possible to make them doubt their own. Before presenting them with a third option.
And that would be?
To pool our resources and save the city ourselves. Why fight each other?
When all that fear and anger can be directed at the bandits.
It appears we have a plan of action. Victor, pay Conrad a visit. See if you can't convince him of his folly. I'll speak with Natalie.
As you wish.
Your faces are not well known in this town. That may prove useful. Don't worry, Victor and I will do most of the talking. You need only play along.
Play along?
What he means to say is yes.
Picture it, Conrad. Here she is. The Lady of the Spear herself. Conrad, may I introduce you to Jane, commander of the Red Wings, the oldest mercenary guild in the Free Cities.
A pleasure, my lady.
The pleasure is all mine.
As I told you, I summoned the commander here from Canver to inquire about a contract.
Victor says you told him no. That there aren't any men left to hire. Is that true?
True as the crystals cracked. Nobles came and claimed every last one worth his salt. And not just from us Red Wings. You know of the 7 high houses. There must be 2 swords assigned each one. Granted, we have a few boys left. If it's boys you're looking for.
Well, Conrad, are you saying that Dalimil's finest cannot defend this town better than a gaggle of unblooded striplings? That a band of beardless youths could better avenge the deaths of your brave men than you yourselves?
Absolutely not. We'll show those bastards who they're dealing with.
I can't believe that actually worked.
Conrad's not what you call the brightest candle in the crypt. And there's a reason why I had you do the talking and not Sid. Well played, my lady.